Hello, how are you doing? Now in this video, let's build user profile. Okay, so the first thing we need to create a user controller. Okay, so get inside your project folder and run this command: PSP artisan make controller user controller. Okay, once that is done, user controller, and here let's create this method public function index. Okay, here we can type in the user model. Okay, and let's not forget to use app user, and let's dive down this user object. Okay, now let's create the root as well. Okay, so here root get and users slash, and we can pass in this user. Okay, and then the controller that will be handling this is user controller at index. Okay, so this is root model binding because we're passing this user parameter will be handled by this controller method, right? And it will go look into this user model, and user model is associated with this user table. So this user table, whatever is available here, username, email, this ID, everything, so it will query that user model and user table and return us, give us back the user if that user exists. Okay, so when we use this root model binding, we are passing this parameter, so based on that parameter it will make a query and return that user if that exists in the database. Okay, so this way it is much simpler. We don't have to query manually like where user this and that, it's pretty easy. So we can give it a try. Let's go to users slash Ryan. Okay, and we see this error because by default this Laravel Eloquent, it queries the database based on the ID. Again, now we're passing the username. So if I pass the ID, so this user, if you look in the database, this Ryan has the ID of 1, right? So if I pass the ID instead, you see the user is returned. So this is the benefit of using root model binding. So you bind this parameter, it went to the user table, query the database, and return the user. Now it did everything based on the ID, right, as you can see, but what we want is we want to be able to query based on the username. Okay, so it's an easy fix. So what we can do is we can go back to user model. So here what I can do is I can specify the root key name. Okay, so public function get root key name, and let's return the username. Okay, so what this will do is by default it does the query based on the ID, but with this it will query based on the username. Okay, now if you try with the ID it will not work, but if you pass the username, you see it works and it queries the database and returns that user. As you can see, username, email, password, and everything. Now if we pass another user, we have another user Jen, so let's give it a try. Okay, so we get another user as well, but if it doesn't exist, we don't see anything. Okay, so that's great, but with this we need to make sure that all the usernames are unique, right? So let's quickly fix that up in our user validation. When we register a user, let's go to app http controllers auth register controller. So whenever the user is registering, the username required maximum this one, and also we want to make it unique users, and username. Okay, so this way we make sure the usernames are unique. Now let's go back to user controller, and instead of die and dump, we can return a view with this user. Okay, so let's return view. Let's create a folder called users, and then we can call it index. Use the compact method to pass this users variable user. Okay, now let's go ahead, create this one. Let's go to resources, views, create a new folder, users. Inside here, let's create this file, index.blade.php, and we can extend the layouts app. Okay, let's copy this bit and let's put here, and let's try user name. Refresh, and let's just use this, display this user. Refresh, and as you can see, we get this whole user object. Now we can display the user name, email, and so on. Beautiful. Now that we have this profile URL, we can update our this timeline. Whenever we post something, we get the user name. Now we can update this link, so when we click, it will take us to the user profile page. Okay, so let's leave it for the moment like this, and let's go to app component, and let's update this a tag, ahref. Now this will be, let me use the template string users, and then we can embed the variable like so, and we can pass in the user dot username, post dot user dot username. Okay, let's save this one. Okay, let's try. Okay, now if we click, okay, it's not updating. I might have to clear the browser cache, delete the old data. Let's start again. Okay, okay, now I can click, and as you can see here, the link is correct. Let's click, and I'm taken to my profile. Beautiful. Okay, so in the next video we can work on building this follow functionality. Okay, that is the core feature of this application, right? So let's work on that in the next video. Thank you.